Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be Her Village podcast. My name is Caitlin LaGreas, and I'm the founder of Be Her Village. Be Her Village is an online gift registry for what moms really need: support, not stuff. We're talking to providers and people who care for moms in their pregnancy, their birth, their postpartum. We're talking to real moms and hearing their stories and really just getting into all the good stuff that comes along with new parenthood. So check us out, tune in, and let us know what you think.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Be Her Village podcast. In today's episode, Caitlin is talking to Nicole Davies, who is the Crunchy Mama. Nicole has a great community that she's built on Facebook, a great community on Instagram, and with her community, she shares easy ways for parents to learn how to approach gentle parenting, what it is to be a crunchy mama, and how to start that sort of lifestyle. In this episode, they bond over their love of freezing cold ice water, as well as acknowledging that parents start from exactly where they are, and when they know better, they do better. And so that's the kind of community and culture that Nicole is trying to create with her platform. We get to hear about Nicole's transition into motherhood and growing the community that she's been building for a few years, and learning that she had lots of support, and that's part of what she attributes to her success in this motherhood realm. So this was a great introduction to Nicole and what it means to be a crunchy mama. We are going to be having Nicole on our Instagram Live to talk a little bit more about gentle parenting, how you can get started, what that means, how that might look for you wherever you're at. So we're super excited to have Nicole supporting us, and we're really looking forward to doing more things with her in the future. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy the episode.
All right, so let's just start with your crunchy mama, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What is, like, let's even start with the word crunchy, because I think some people are probably like, what does crunchy mean? I don't understand. And some people probably have a definition for themselves, but what does it mean to you to be a crunchy mama?
So where I got it from is when I first started my parenthood with my daughter. My dad used to call me crunchy mama all the time, and I was like, what does that even mean, Dad? Like, I have no idea. And it's because I've always been more natural minded and stuff like that, and my parents always have been too. I grew up with awesome, very gentle, conscious parents who talked to us about everything. So it kind of came naturally. And so then I started looking it up, and so crunchy comes from like another term being granola, which comes from kind of hippie, is like all these different terms. So I kind of just rolled with the nickname my dad gave me and started this page. And as the page has grown, my definition of crunchy has definitely changed a lot. When I first started it, I was just, okay, it's natural mindedness. It's, baby wearing and cloth diapering and breastfeeding if you can. But I realized over the years that so many people want to do those things, but it's not always as easily accessible. Or like breastfeeding, for example, it is hard. It is difficult. And I always advocate for it. But my own journey with both my kids, like, it was hard, and we pushed it through, and it was awesome. But I know for some moms, it's just not worth it, honestly. And that's okay. So I guess it's just an umbrella term, in my opinion, for parents who are always searching for the best information and education on being gentle and natural, and just always wanting to do what is best for your children. But that varies from family to family as well.
That's really beautiful, Nicole. I love the way you just summed that up. And I love that it's an ever-evolving term, because we were just speaking about this before we hit record. It has evolved for me. How old are your children?
So I have an 8-year-old daughter, a 7-year-old bonus son, and a 2-year-old son as well.
So we are very similar in our uh, path because I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Wow.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
but the definition has changed, right? Because you start out being like, everything is natural and great, and I'm a natural parent. And then you start to
Yeah,
realize, oh, I'm trying really hard and this isn't working, or I want this very badly, but it's not the right thing for my family. Or, there's all these different variables. And I feel like the more you go through your parenting journey, the more empathy you gain for everybody else on their parenting
absolutely.
journey.
Absolutely. And I ended up typing this out on a comment on Crunchy Mama a couple weeks ago, just explaining that I feel like crunchy parenting, it's a spectrum and everybody's on a different journey or a different place in their journey. So, like for some, like I used cloth diapers, but cloth wipes were not my thing. And I I could not get, like I couldn't do it. And I commend anybody who could, but I just love the way that wipes clean up any mess and I use them, So I think everybody has their thing that's not crunchy or many of things that aren't crunchy, but you still are trying and doing everything in your power to be as natural minded as possible.
Absolutely. So, one of the things I would love to talk about is the motivation behind the natural parenting. We're kind of talking about it as this thing that a
Yeah.
bunch of people, obviously, you have 400,000 people that are following you. You have a huge community of people who are into this
Yeah.
natural parenting. But my question is, why? What is your why, and what is the community's why, do you think?
So my why is definitely my biggest motivator is the gentle aspect that comes uh, with crunchy parenting. Going back to our roots as humans and the co-sleeping, the baby wearing, keeping our children close in a society that's like, no, put that baby in a crib, let them cry until they fall asleep at 2 months old. Like if you think about it biologically, our kids need us. And so my biggest motivator from the beginning was that closeness, the keeping that just bond, and keeping them close because that's really what we are supposed to be doing. And then as I evolved in my own journey, I really love the idea of being resourceful and reusing and reducing in a consumer filled world. I love the thought, but I am just like anybody else, and I love my package of Oreos every once in a while, and like all that stuff. So I think I like the simplicity that um, natural parenting brings. And it is hard, though. It is a hard thing to achieve in the world we live in. So that's kind of my why. As far as an overall why for the page, I just think it's parents wanting to do the best that they can for their kids. And, their hearts lead them to this kind of community because they are co-sleeping or breastfeeding or using cloth diapers. I think for a lot of people, it's like one major thing that leads them, and then they kind of fall in love with other ideas along the way.
I love that. I love that that's how we all find each other, right? Is
Yeah.
just like we might not even know in our heads like what is
No.
available and what to do. We just sort of in our gut and our heart and our mama
Yeah.
instincts kick in, and we know that we need to do better for our children, and maybe better often looks different from how we were raised or from how
Yeah.
other people around us are raising their children. But there is something so simple about the crunchy side of things, right? Just meeting
Yeah.
children's needs and co-sleeping and breastfeeding and all of the sort of original parenting techniques.
Yeah, exactly. I love the term thinking about it as instinctual parenting. Um,
Hmm.
when you let the judgments and advice of society fall off your shoulders, and of course there are so many awesome people that moms are surrounded by who have great advice and who have their best interest at heart. But we have a very detached society. And so letting those ideals not affect you and really just letting you parent your child instinctually, I think parents realize that they can trust themselves and their own heart a lot more than they're given credit for.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. It reminds me actually of, I remember, so I was very judgy, and I feel embarrassed about it now because through my doula work and just through my deep desire to support mothers and women
Yeah.
and parents of all kind, I have realized just how we are actually all trying the very best that we can. But I was super judgy, and I remember there was a family member of mine who was like parenting in the exact opposite way of me,
Yes.
like schedules and bottles and like not going by the children's cue and not like waking up a sleeping baby to shove a bottle in her face
Yeah.
and ignoring cries of hunger because it wasn't time for the bottle, like that sort of thing. And it was making me so uncomfortable. And I said it to my mom. I said, Mom, how are they doing this? And she looked at me and she said kind of exactly what you just said. She said, well, I have always appreciated how much you are trusting of your own instincts to care for your child. And I was like, it blew my mind wide open to, so I don't have to sit here and be like a small-minded person who's like being bitchy about bottle feeding and non-cue feeding, but I can actually celebrate my own power and my own ability to tap into my maternal instincts. They're so powerful.
They are. And something I've learned too is there are certain topics, that I feel very strongly about. And there are certain things where I've done the research and I've come to the conclusion that, okay, like this is how I want to do it. But I know that some people, they're just doing the best that they know how to. And so, that's why I always I preach about it just being a journey, because honestly, I with my son, I did not circumcise him. And had he been my first, because he's my youngest, had he been my first, I totally would have ended up circumcising him because I didn't know any differently. I didn't know that there was another option, because in America, that's just the default option is circumcision. And so, but then that's why I sit there and of all my friends' kids and everything else, he's the only one that is uncircumcised and intact. But I don't care, because this is my family and that's their family. And if they want the information from me, if they're like, hey, Nicole, I know you've researched this, can we talk about it? Great. But I don't think it's my job to change people's minds. I just try to model the best I can what I feel is right. And if they're interested or if they're intrigued with what I'm doing, then I will happily share information. But I love my friends regardless of our differences in parenting choices, because we're both doing what's right for our family in a lot of ways. We're doing the best we can, and we're doing what feels the best. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters.
That is just such a beautiful sentiment that it feels like it's lacking. I can see why you have such a big community, because there's so few people that are saying what you just said, that are saying, you make your choices, I make my choices. We can all still be friends. We can all still hang out. We can all still be. But there is so much, I think more than there ever has been. There's so much division right now, especially. But there always kind of has been, at least in my parenting journey. Circumcision, vaccines, homeschooling, breastfeeding, screen time. It feels like each of these parenting topics has the potential, especially on a Facebook page, to just, but also, in other arenas, to just be explosive, to be divisive, to have people kind of stake their side. It's such a beautiful thing that you just said of I can do my thing, you can do your thing. How does that play out for you on the Crunchy Mama page? I just have curiosity as a Facebook administrator myself. How do you do that? How do you take that sentiment that you just said and weave it through your community?
Yeah. So I get yelled at a lot by people, either through messages or comments or whatever it might be, about how I'm not like this. I don't take this straight and narrow path in, crunchy mom and, crunchy momhood and stuff like that. And I go by my own experience, and I know that that's not how it works. And I know that I tell people continuously on my page, yes, you might feel a certain way about this, but then you might also be doing something differently that isn't considered crunchy. You might not be as, no one's perfectly natural minded, because it's just impossible. It's impossible to be. So it's something I do post continuously. I want to be inclusive of everybody on the page. And the thing that I feel is the biggest barrier is I have a lot of moms on there who will jump on a post, and it'll be a mom who's looking for advice, who's obviously a new mom, so it might be a mom wanting to know about breastfeeding and like, oh, I formula fed my first baby, but the second baby, I really want to breastfeed. How can I be successful in that? And that is a awesome question. And it's an awesome thing that they want to try to breastfeed. But then these moms get on and they're like shaming formula, shaming the way that other moms are doing things. And that's really not helpful. That's not helping a mom feel supported in her breastfeeding journey. That's just making someone feel like shit. And there's no point in that. That's not educating anybody. That's not getting you anywhere. And so that's like the biggest thing is like the inclusivity. Like I try to just talk about that as much as I can because everyone had to start from somewhere. And, if I would have gone on a page and I wanted advice and these moms just shamed me, I would probably I wouldn't want to go back on that page possibly because I would feel bad. My feelings would be hurt. So I really just try to get moms to understand that it's so important to support each other regardless of where we are in our journey. And I think that for the most part, it is appreciated. I get messages and I see comments of moms just thanking me for this community and for being so open. And also for honestly sometimes condemning the crunchy world in other ways because it is so closed off in the way that they do things. You have to do things a certain way. But I just don't think that's even necessary. I think you do the best you can, and I think we just need to support each other, and that's really what I'm always trying to do with this page.
It sounds like you're taking the gentle parenting sort of approach and just applying that to life and to other people.
Absolutely.
Right? Like we're gently including and educating and supporting with always the eye to support, not to like demonize any one thing or one approach. Speaking of circumcision, one of my favorite, both of my sons are whole uncircumcised, intact, whatever you want to call it. And I love Your Whole Baby, which is like yourwholebaby.org. And they have a Facebook community. And part of what I love about them is that they are so gentle. It's, they give really good information, but they give it in a way, and they demand of their members to give it in a way that you can be open to it, because the people that post in there are like, hey, I don't know anything about this. Please, help me find it. And if you start showing horrible images and attacking people's choices, it just shuts people off for any sort of, topic or education. It's just not how we learn. We learn through play, number one. But we learn when we feel good, when we're laughing, when we're open, when we're receptive. So I think that's such a beautiful way to approach it, for sure.
Absolutely. I agree. I think that the whole, if you want moms to be natural minded because I feel like so many of these moms who are very intense about it, they mean well. They're like, well, this is, like we should be doing this. We should be trying this. But if you love natural parenting and you want to help others be natural in their parenting, the end goal is to help them. And by judging and talking down to people, you're never going to, push them forward in their journey. You're just going to scare them away.
Absolutely. So we have people listening, right? So for somebody who's listening to this and knows about Be Her Village because they're interested in having support prenatally and postpartum and is thinking about their gift registry and their baby shower, they're also thinking or maybe open to hearing about how they could be a crunchy mom or what it means, or what would your tips be for somebody who's like, interest is peaked right now and they're hearing cloth diapering. What sorts of things can we do to be more eco-friendly, natural parents? What does that look like?
So for some simple changes that you can make, I do believe cloth diapering really is a pretty simple change that can be made if you have young kids. I cloth diapered both my kids, and I know people are scared away a lot by that because it is just, you are handling, poop, and you're washing these diapers and everything, but it really is very simple. As long as you have a washer and dryer, you don't even really need a dryer. You can like line dry them or just hang them out somewhere and stuff. It really is simple, and it does save a lot of money. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, I got obsessed and had to get all the cute prints and had way too many diapers.
I was gonna say, it only saves money if you don't join a diaper swap group, and then you just...
My husband at one point was like, "I thought this was supposed to save us money," and I'm like, "Well, when a diaper is only like $9 a piece, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get these couple of cute prints," and like it's so. I mean, I used like Mama Koala for the most part with my kids, because it is a fairly inexpensive brand. And there are, I know a lot of people who swear by like Bum Genius and stuff like, and just lots of other brands, and those are a little bit more expensive, but awesome diapers still. I loved the prints and honestly the inexpensiveness of Mama Koala. So those are kind of the ones I used a lot. But that's one way. Cloth diapering is awesome. I use reusable water bottles for my kids, and I use like the stainless steel ones most of the time, just because my kids they love cold water. They're water snobs like I am. I'm like a total water snob. I love like good water, cold water, like, so that's another thing we use.
I am just to interject, I literally do not understand people who don't like ice cold water, because that's just everything I've always known. Yes. And I try not to gatekeep water drinking, but right, like whatever. If you like lukewarm water, that's cool. But also how and why and what happened to you when you were a small child, because
who hurt you?
Ice cold water is one of life's like simplest pleasures, and it is my favorite. And it doesn't matter the time of year or the weather. I just really you got to let the water sit in the ice for a few minutes and then drink it.
100%.
Oh, it's so
it is,
good.
And that's why I got like one of those big Yeti stainless steel water bottles for my birthday this year, and it's huge and it holds a ton of water, and I'll just fill that up and let it sit, and it keeps it so cold, and it is just the best.
That's awesome. I love it. I also want to just quickly go back to the cloth diapering thing, because I think that there's this, I cloth diapered all three of my children. I actually, with one set of Bum Genius diapers that I got for $400, my father bought it for me as like my baby shower gift. Awesome. So it did save us money, because I didn't get into the diaper trading game. Yes. I did with baby wearing, but that's a different story. But I think that there's this like idea that cloth diapering has to be super hard. Like it has to be like multiple different parts and touching things. But like the technology has advanced so much that you can cloth diaper the same way you disposable diaper, with just a little bit more laundry. Like it doesn't have to be folding and pinning and like multiple different parts. Like Bum Genius, which is what I use, they have all-in-ones that it's just like a regular diaper, except when you're done, you just throw it in a laundry basket. And when I started cloth diapering, I did it to save money, and I did it too because of the environment, because I had a hard time with the idea of just like piling up mounds of plastic from my babies. But I did everything. My mother would always call me crunchy, not crazy, which is like very, I feel like you and I can connect on that phrase, right? Where I would cloth diaper, but at night it was a disposable. So one disposable a day, because I just like was never going to give up a blink of sleep in order to live up to my crunchy ideal. So I was like crunchy during the daytime.
Oh,
and then at night I was like, here's your disposable diaper.
As both my kids got older, and I just kind of like, I use the pocket diapers. So, you could put in inserts and stuff, and you could add in more. And I use like some bamboo inserts, and they were absorbent and great. But there just came to a point where like my son was peeing so much at night and peeing through them. And I was like, you know what? So we probably like, I don't know, probably like 8 or 10 months old, I just started doing a disposable at night as well, because it's just, and that's that's the whole point I've tried, making with crunchy parenting, is you do the best you can. And at the end of the day, if you got to use a disposable diaper or some fast food French fries to keep your life going, that's what you do.
Then you do the thing. And I actually, when I had my daughter, my youngest, she was very sick. Okay. And I was told she had something called F-pies, which is like a whole nightmare all on its own. But but I had 3 kids under 4. I was home with them. My husband was back to work, and I was so completely overwhelmed. And I knew I had to give up one of my crunchy things. And it was, in my mind, it was diapers, the cloth diapers, or it was breastfeeding. In retrospect, I probably should have given up both. It would have helped her heal faster, but that's a whole other story. But I was just so okay with it. I just remember looking at him and being like, I can't do everything. And the laundry is piling up. And so we just got disposables, and it was fine. And it was, you have to find your own balance in that. But if you have the capacity for it, it saves money. It is good for them. It's good for their little bums to have, genius. For their little bums to have, soft, natural fibers next to them. And and it's good for the environment, which is pretty great.
It is. And it was very simple once I got my routine down and stuff with it. And I think a lot of people think you're just going to be doing laundry all day long, but you don't have, you can wait, you can wait for the laundry to pile up a little bit, take a couple days, do laundry every couple days, and just get, when you're out and about, get a wet bag to put your dirty diapers in. That's a lot of times I hear people like, well, what am I supposed to do when we're not at home, and stuff. And they make cute little, travel size wet bags that'll hold 3 or 4 diapers. And it is maybe intimidating at first. I can totally see how it can be intimidating at first, but once you kind of get, you get going and stuff, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. And which is why it's so great to have your community and to have a place to get that information in a really, low pressure sort of a way. So we've got cloth diapering, water bottles, reusable water bottles. Awesome. What other simple little changes can we make to be more eco-friendly as parents?
Definitely reusable bags. That's one of the biggest changes I think I've made, because all the time, like going out and about, Ziploc bags are like my go-to to put snacks in for the kids, or for especially like grocery shopping. I'll come home and have 15 plastic bags, from all the groceries I have to get throughout the week. And so if you can, using reusable baggies and stuff is an awesome way to be more eco-friendly. They make really cute ones on Amazon that really aren't that expensive that you can grab. They have them at stores too. And then of course the reusable grocery bags. Like I love Trader Joe's. I don't know if that's something that's around you or. Okay. Yes. I love Trader Joe's. And they always have great, pretty inexpensive reusable bags. And even if you just go to the store and every time you get groceries or once a month, you just grab one of those bags, pretty soon you'll have way enough to do all your grocery shopping. It doesn't have to be a big purchase in all of those. Even just doing one at a time is still making a difference. And eventually you'll have enough where all your groceries can just come home in reusable bags.
I love that. That's such a simple tip. And I actually find myself totally inadvertently creating quite a collection of reusable bags because I never remember to bring them. So I'm constantly just like adding a couple more. So,
I know.
But then I pass them along to people. I use them for we just have so many reusable bags around our house. There's something that is just like, there's a pit in my stomach when I think about plastic consumption.
It's huge.
Just how pervasive it is in our environment, in the oceans, in our kids' lives, leaching into them. I just have this like fear of, it's not like a fear, I don't have a phobia, but it's just, there's like a gut reaction to plastic, knowing what I know now about it. And I love the idea of like finding ways to slowly replace ways that we use plastic. And one of the most disposable ways that we use it are those Ziploc bags for school, for snacks, for camp, for daycare. It's like, or even if you're staying home with your kids, just like going to the park, you bring, some grapes or something in a snack bag. And that's a really easy thing to swap out.
They're more on the pricey side, but like those bent go boxes and stuff like that, those are an awesome alternative too for like school lunches, because you can put everything. I can't remember what the brand is, but I just got one from Target, one of my favorite places in the world, for my daughter for school this year. It's not a Bent Go brand, but it is awesome. It's got all the little areas for different food, and you can put it just kind of gets rid of those plastic bags for you and everything. And another thing when talking about plastic would be straws too. Using metal reusable straw, or they have silicone. The silicone ones are great too. using those.
They also have a combination. I have the metal with like a
Yes.
silicone tip.
Yep. That's what
on
I
it.
have right now
Yeah.
on my water bottle. I love using those. My kids love using them too. They love straws, and if you can buy like multiple pack ones anywhere really, and they last forever and they're awesome and also help with that plastic consumption.
I love it. That's great. Is there anything else that jumps out at you as something that you do that kind of falls into that eco parenting?
I think another thing that I do try to do the best that I can is reusing in a sense. So like hand-me-downs for clothes with kids, or say you've got a pair of pants that are too short for them, trying to sew them up into shorts or capris or something like that. Buying secondhand. There's so much stuff that already exists in our world. And we're always, more is always being made and consumed. And I am a consumer for sure. It's one of my things that I try to get better at because I love shopping and I love kids' clothes and but I also try to buy from sustainably sourced clothing brands too. Primary and Burt's Bees are good. I've done some research into it. They are pretty good in terms of like how they're creating their clothes and the things that they're doing to help not hurt the earth more than it already has been. So
I love that. That was a big part of what I did. I did it when I was a new parent, a brand new parent. A lot of it was out of necessity because we were losing my income so I could stay home. And I remember I got this, this was like the score of a lifetime, but it was like $35 for like 5 huge black like contractor garbage bags filled with clothes for 0 to 5. It was like this family's entire kid clothes, and it was all like high quality stuff. I don't even think I bought any clothes for my 2 boys for like until they were 6.
That's
awesome. It was really unbelievable. But even now, I go to secondhand stores. Once Upon a Child. I don't know if you have that those. But it's such a favorite. I get all of our shoes from Once Upon a Child because kids' shoes, they grow so fast, and it's like $40 every time you want to get them a new pair of shoes. And they need rain boots, and they need sandals, and they need sneakers, and they need dress shoes. It's absolutely nuts. It's such a big part too of like Be Her Village is this idea that we don't have to gift all the stuff because the stuff exists. Like you said, there's an abundance of stuff. If you go to any mom group or swap or secondhand store or any of those like meetups, there's just everybody's trying to give away toys, give away clothes with tags on, give away bouncers, give away strollers, or selling them for like a quarter of the price. It's just the stuff certainly exists out there already. I love the idea of reusing that so that I think we can help our budget and our planet at the same time.
And I think another thing that I don't know that a lot of people think of is baby wearing. You mentioned baby wearing and stuff, and like strollers use a lot of plastic and other materials to make, and strollers are handy though. At the same time, they are handy and they are nice as kids get older and heavier to carry and everything else. But I loved baby wearing too, and I felt like it helped because I have my stepdad bought me a stroller when my daughter was little, and she's 8 now, and I still have that exact same stroller that we use for my son when we need it and stuff. But I have never bought a stroller because I just didn't. I baby wore as much as I could.
I love it. Baby wearing was, for me, it was something I wanted to do. But I ended up, my first baby was a high needs baby. And for anybody who doesn't know what a high needs baby is, good for you. Congratulations. I'm very happy for you. But basically, he was just a kid who needed to be held all the time, needed to be breastfed all the time, wouldn't sleep on his own, wouldn't be put down without crying. And that's just kind of his personality. He's relatively anxious, maybe has ADHD. We're not really sure. We're figuring it out. But that's just who he is. And it's the kid I got. It was not the kid I expected. It's not the kid other people got. but he was my kid. And so while others have their newborns in strollers, he would not let me put him down without screaming. So I ended up baby wearing out of necessity, and it became something I just loved. It felt so normal and natural to have him on me, where I could be responding to his needs and knowing everything sort of immediately, and he could be alert and aware and experiencing the world from my level versus in a stroller. It was a really cool experience. I did, however, go down the baby wearing rabbit hole of like swaps. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't know about the baby wearing community, it's different now because it's oversaturated. So it's not as easy to sell what you buy. But in the beginning, it was like this huge, like growing community. And so there you could buy something for $100, sell it for $100, get a new thing for $100. And I basically spent like $150 total from the start to the finish, but then had like 15 to 20 baby wearing wraps and devices and all these things that I don't know. You buy one thing and then you sell it, or you swap and you do all these things. And it was so much fun to like be able to try different things. And as my baby's needs changed and my needs changed, we could like try new things. And it was so much fun. It was a hobby in addition to just like a thing to do that was natural. And it also connected me with other parents because it was a community. We would actually have meetups, and you kind of find your people through the baby wearing community, which was very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a similar experience. I fell in love with baby wearing, and I stumbled my way through it because at first, I didn't really understand much. And then I discovered Tula, and all my money went down the drain. Not really. It was worth it, but oh man, the full wrap conversion, and I know not many people probably know what that means, but it was just, I have a dreamy, like aqua blue mermaid wrap conversion Tula that I will never get rid of. My husband's always like, we need to sell that. I'm like, no, I will wear my grandchildren in that is everything to me. And I spent way too much money on it, but it was like, it meant so much to me. And it was kind of something I did for myself because I had my first child at 19. And so I didn't have a lot for the first couple years that she was of her life. We got by with bare minimum. We did what we could. And then I was in school and I was doing better in life. And I was like, you know what? I want this carrier. I love this carrier. And I needed a toddler sized one, not like the standard size. And I went for it. And it's just it's a good memory for me too, because it's like, I feel like the first thing I did kind of for myself in parenthood, that I was actually able to do for myself.
That's really beautiful, Nicole. That's really beautiful. And it's an important reminder to sometimes do the thing that feels luxurious, that feels over the top, that feels like too much. Just do it if it feels good. Because I don't think we do that enough, especially for ourselves.
Absolutely.
We do that for our kids.
Oh
constantly. I would love to ask you a little bit about what it was like being a teen mom and being younger, I'm assuming, than most of your mom peers. What was that like for you? Were you able to find or fit in or connect with other mothers? What did that feel like?
Honestly, for the first couple years of my daughter's life, I found some mom friends, but I had a really awesome group of friends that never left my side even after I had to bring around a cute little, infant everywhere we went. And honestly, with my daughter, her dad has not really ever been around in her life and stuff. And my husband now is dad to her, and he's amazing. And I'm so thankful that he came in and picked up those pieces and filled that hole and everything. So, but I was surrounded by an awesome group of people. My parents, my sisters, my best friends, they all they supported me. They loved me. They didn't care that I had a kid when we went to dinner or when we came over. They never minded. And like my best friend Travis, he kind of played like a father figure role to some extent until my husband came around. Me and him we're together all the time. And he really was just like, he's been so helpful in my own parenting journey too, because he actually owns a play-based preschool here where I'm at. And I have learned so much through that. And I was the director there for a couple of years and a teacher there. And we just moved back, like I mentioned. And so I'm actually going to be a teacher there again, part-time, because I'm going to finish up school. So I just was blessed with an awesome community of people. And like my friend Dexy, she has a little one who just turned 1, and he's the cutest thing. But we were just on a trip to the Ozarks like 2 weeks ago, and she had posted this cute picture on Snapchat that just made me sit back and think for a minute, because it was her with my daughter, and she was like, it was something about how Mia, my daughter, was like the first baby in her life of all her friends, and who really started her love of motherhood. And that just made me so happy, because I just like having friends who love your kids is one of the best things, because like your family and, they're having them love your kids is amazing too. But like your friends choose to love you and your kids, even if it isn't always like I was 19, my friend Travis and Dexy are both like younger than me by like a year or two. And so they like were even younger than I was. And still we were just walking around like these 18, 19-year-olds with this little baby. And they were just amazing. And I think in those hard days, those were some of the harder days of my parenthood journey. They really pulled me through, along with my sisters and my parents and stuff, because I've just always had an awesome community.
That's really, really beautiful. And I think that is one of the biggest factors of how we feel in parenthood, is how supported we are. Whether it's by professionals, by a Facebook page, or by the people day in and day out of our lives. Yes. So it's so beautiful that you had access to that.
Yeah, you need that community of people. And I will forever be thankful that they didn't, I did have friends who kind of did drop off after I had my daughter and stuff. And I knew it was going to happen, because we were young and everyone was partying and just having fun at that point. And I had a baby, and I very quickly changed my mindset once I found out I was pregnant, because I wanted to be the best mom I could be, even if the statistics were against me and a lot of people were against me. I was like, no, I'm going to be the best dang mom I can be for this little girl. It was so helpful to have like my sisters helped with her so much, and and my parents, and I don't know. Yeah. At the end of the day, it made me a better mom to have all these people around to support me.
That's really beautiful. I love it. Nicole, you are such a light, and I'm so grateful to know you and to have this conversation and to be supportive of what you're doing. And I appreciate your support of what we're doing with Be Her Village. And it feels like we're all working towards the exact same thing, which is getting people the support they need so they can be the best parent that they are. And it's just so great to know you, and I'm really grateful.
I'm so happy to meet you guys. I was so excited when Jess messaged me, and I'm super excited to be a part of all of this and to see how you guys grow too, because I think what you're doing is amazing and so needed, because like we've been talking about all this stuff, like, yes, it's nice to have the stroller or the crib or, but at the same time, moms get overlooked so much in this process, and they're changing so much. Their lives are changing so much, and they're going through a huge, hormonal, emotional life change. And a lot of times, of course, everyone is focused on the baby because it's a cute new little life that's just so innocent and beautiful. But then there's this mom who, has gone through all of this and has a long road ahead of her, especially as a new mom, to figure out just her new life. And I think it's so important to focus on moms. And I truly believe that moms who are loved through their journey will always be better, like the best version of themselves, because they need that love.
That's so beautiful. I love it. I just love it. It's like it's beautiful to hear someone talk about what I'm working on, because it just reminds me again and again, this is so important. And it's just, you're so right. It's about supporting each other so we can be the best parents and best version of ourselves that we can be. That's really great. It is so great to meet you. You're
It's so nice
you're
to meet
like the
you.
opposite of what Facebook is in my head. And you bring this warmth and this empathy and this non-judgment and this grace and this gentleness. And it's so needed and refreshing. And I'm really, really happy to know you.
Thank you. It's definitely been a journey on my part too, to figure out kind of who I am as a mom and as a person who's supporting other moms and how to do that the best that I can. And I don't totally have gone through my own spurts of realizing I'm being way more judgmental than I needed to be, and that's not going to be helpful and all those things. And at the end of the day, it's been trial and error, and I've had lots of error, lots of, experiences in life and in parenthood. And I am happy and thankful for them because I really love who I have been able to become through them all. So
It's beautiful, and it's just it's so true. I think there's this idea of like the perfect mother, that we all have to be perfect from day one, but that's not even close to the truth. I think that being a perfect mother is making mistakes, learning from them, trying again, making more mistakes. And
yes,
just
100%.
rinse and repeat.
There's got 10 mistakes for every like victory that you have, but then that victory is so good and it's so worth it. And so worth every bump in the road to get there. And you do get there. It just takes time and patience, and I think an open mind as well.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, and have a great rest of the day. It was so great to meet you.
You too. It was so nice to meet you. I'll talk to you later.